Hello traders, it's a new week and last week market sold massively. And if you remember last week while I was talking, I said I was expecting a spike in the number of pips that we've been having. We had 4K pips in the first week, I think 2K pips in the second week, and I was already expecting a massive spike. So I was already picturing third or the fourth week. And so I wasn't surprised when the number of pips came, but I was just surprised with the direction. And that is to tell you that you can't be right 100%. Because last week, based on the fact that market has not closed below this low, I was still expecting market to give me a movement to the upside, like something like this, and then we push to the upside. But eventually, all I could just pick from it is the fact that the moment market rejected from this low and kept pushing up, the movement was meant to come and take this high. But since it failed to take this high by breaking structures on daily time frame, 4-hour time frame, market decided to just come down. And from where market is currently, all I can just say is market is coming for this liquidity, because since this liquidity, there is no other liquidity. This place is just blank, and market needs to fill this space up and take this liquidity and probably tap this POI and go lower to tap all these liquidities that I've marked out. That's that about that. And then the other thing I mentioned last week was the fact that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they add Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday add the same number of times that they've appeared on my table, and I specifically mentioned it last week that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday you should watch out for movement in the market. So Monday market pushed up, Tuesday market got to the peak and market started falling from Tuesday. So if you had paid attention to either of these 3 days, you would have gotten a setup either by yourself, and if you had taken sales, you should have made a lot of money in the market. Now let's see the number of pips. Now the first week, market gave us 4K pips in the first week. The second week, 2K pips from the high to the low. On first week, low to the high. So, and I was like, okay, we should get a massive spike in number of pips. So now that let's check the third week and see for ourselves how many pips got delivered this week, and if that is the spike we've been expecting, or maybe next week can also be another spike of pips. So let's quickly check the week. This is the week. Let's check the number of pips that got delivered from here. This is the top of the week to the low of the week. Let's see. This is the daily chart, and we can see that this was Monday, this was Tuesday from the high of the week, and Friday from the low of the week. And on my table, if you've seen where Tuesday forms the low of the week or the high of the week, most times we get Friday to be the high or low of the week. So when I noticed this during the week, I was picturing Friday to be a major day to see movement in the market, and we could see that on Friday market really moved. So let's quickly calculate the number of pips that we got from Tuesday to Friday and see if we've gotten the spike, or we can still wait on so this is around 5,680 pips. So let me quickly update that on my table, and we can see how effective this information is and has been. So let me do that now. 68 pips. All right, and then the low of the week formed on Friday and high of the week formed on Tuesday. So leaving us to have Tuesday to be 5 year and Friday to be 8 year. So this summarizes it all for us. Going forward, a Friday has always been a major day in the week that you can pay attention to, because it has occurred on our table 8 times, and then we have Monday 4 times, Tuesday 5 times, Wednesday 5 times. So this data should just give you enough information to be able to know when you should really be active in the market. Personally, I will tell you not to check or really actively trade on Thursday. If you are going to be losing money, please ensure you are losing less on Thursdays, because you really don't have business in the market this coming Thursday. Just focus on focus on Monday, yeah, focus on Tuesday, focus on Wednesday, and then either of any of these days, you can hold your trade to Friday. So let's see the last time Tuesday occurred on our charts. The last time Tuesday occurred on our charts, it was the low formed on Tuesday, and then the high formed on Monday, and then the low formed on Tuesday. So this is the the only time this has happened. But the only time the first time Tuesday happened occurred, rather. The first time Tuesday occurred on our table, and formed the low, and the let's see what day formed the high. So this was the third week in February. The Tuesday, third week in February, the low of the week formed on Tuesday, and then the high of the week formed on Friday. Then the fourth week also, the low of the week formed on Tuesday, the high of the week formed on Friday. So immediately I saw this, I knew that if we could have the low of the week on or high of the week on Tuesday, there's a higher possibility that we are going to have a low of the week on Friday, because Tuesday has been doing partnership with Friday on the table. So yeah, that's basically it. We've done with this. Now let's move to the chart to see what the chart is presenting. So from the chart, we can see that weekly, after weekly pushed up, it has refused to take this high, and we can see that that has led into this massive push downside. Most times when this happens, when market is from a particular region and decide not to take the high, market comes to punish the low that could not take the high in most cases. In most cases. So I will just work with that. I would expect that even if market opens on Monday and you get a retracement, I should still get a push down one more time to take this liquidity, probably tap into this POI. It might go lower, lower, but in all cases, if you get all this kind of movement, you should expect a push back to the upside, because we are still bullish. Why are we bullish? I always say this: breakout is our direction. The major breakout is still to the upside. Any movements we are getting right now to the downside is still a retracement until we get a major close below this low. So market can even decide to take this liquidity before pushing back up. It can happen, but in all the cases, if we get a push down one more time, expect a push up. Hopefully, this push down does not, do something. And even if it closes below this low, it can give us a retracement up first before we now continue moving to the downside. But so what would I like to do on Monday? If you see markets pushing down to the downside, just expect Tuesday or Wednesday to be a major day to catch the low of the week so that you can follow them to the upside. But if on Monday you see market pushing to the upside, wait for Tuesday and Wednesday to pick your high of the week, and then just sail down to maybe Thursday or Friday, most likely Friday. So that will basically it for this week, and I will see you guys next week.